Okay, so hi everyone. What a wonderful, Friday evening it's going to be, especially with Srujan talking about his success story and his journey today. So welcome, Srujan. But before I allow you and before everyone starts listening to you, I'm sure they are very eager to listen to you today. One, because you obviously have cracked an IIM, and that also Ahmedabad, and second, that you are a fresher. So we'll answer all those questions that we've answered actually all those questions whether a fresher would get into an IIM and that too IIM Ahmedabad, right? But anyways, I'm sure similar questions are going to come. But before that, uh, for everyone, I have umpteen number of times in my sessions of BBKP talked about some personality traits which everyone has. Most of you will observe these traits even in Srujan. But again, I like to highlight them. The person who will crack a good institute is going to be a student who will crack a good institute is one who can do multitasking, who would not, yes, is able to manage stress, will have stress at certain points, but is able to manage stress, knows that not everything goes fine. It's not a linear line that you go in a straight line and you reach IIM Ahmedabad. No, you would not. There'll be ups and downs before you reach Ahmedabad. And how do you manage those stress situations, that negativity, that pressure from the peer group, and that troubles of younger brother, sister without getting annoyed, understanding that yes, it's a part of life. Either you are working and you are studying for your MBA entrance examination, or you are either you're working and studying for the entrance examination, or you are in the college and studying. Irrespective, yes, you have to manage multiple things. That is how your aptitude grows. So ideally, it's not that your journey is different from Srujan's journey. It's almost the same. It's all about how did you manage the difficult situations. Okay. Were you sincere with your effort? Not everything will go right. Are you, and I'm saying it umpteen number of times because we've seen students getting stressed when a slightest of the things goes wrong. That will I be able to do it? There'll be question mark across this complete year, wherein you will feel that maybe I'll not be able to do it. Maybe your percentiles will drop. Maybe you feel that you don't want to take mock cats. So we'll ask Srujan all those questions. Over to you, Srujan. First of all, tell me, how does it feel? How does it feel, and where are you talking from right now? So I think you are in the hostel of your college. Is that so?
Yes, sir. Currently, I am living in kirori College hostel, and I am yet to graduate in 2023 May.
Very
So
nice.
it feels really great, actually, after getting into your dream school and the kind of presence you have in a group right after converting your dream B school, and that is the
Yes.
top B school, is
Yes.
really phenomenal, and the kind of treatment you get after converting it is also really great, and it feels really great.
Srujan, it's going to be a very demanding journey over the next 2 years, wherein you'll be really working. You'll be working very hard. But trust me, and you know it yourself as well, that IIM Ahmedabad, once it comes on the resume, makes a lot of difference to your career. Will make a hell lot of a difference to your career. And we are really happy from Hitbullseye side. Heartiest congratulations. We are as happy as you are being a part of the success journey. So over to you. I would want that you speak your, how did you prepare? Where did you go wrong? What went right? Speak your heart out for the next 25, 30 minutes before we have a quick question and answer session. And for the audience that is listening to us, I'll request you to keep asking questions. I've switched on my YouTube. So you can write those questions on the YouTube, which you are seeing. I will put those questions, all those questions would be answered. So Srujan, how it happens is there are a lot of views which keep happening because it's a YouTube session. A lot of views keep happening even after the session. So even if some questions are not asked, I'll ask those questions so that students who are seeing it after this have all those queries answered. Over to you. Please tell us about your journey.
Okay, so right at this time, last year, I was also very confused about how to go about CAT. And I remember I used to connect with my seniors, talk with my elder sister who is also an MBA, and I used to talk with each and everyone on call, and used to disturb them. Which coaching should I join? What should I do? From where should I start? I have my background in maths, so will the quant be easy for me or hard for me, or is it the same like we did in 12th? So these kind of questions also came up in my mind. So I remember I started from the basics. I was good at maths really. So uh, right at this moment in May, I had my college exams as well. So I did not focus much on CAT at this time, but right from June, I started preparing. So basically, there are three sections we all know: VRC, DILR, and Quant. That is English, logical reasoning, and maths in simple terms. So
And
it,
I see a lot of noise coming from your hostel. Very nice.
yeah,
So studying in that environment would have also gets your concentration ready. I would instead say that if there's so many people making noise and still you're studying, makes a lot of difference. Yes, you get your
yeah,
concentration
that's
right.
yes, that's what really prepared me for CAT, because on CAT day, like coming on the D day, that really happened because I was just right after the exam started in the VRC section, and I was just starting to read my first VRC RC, reading comprehension. A procession came outside my school in which I had the center, because at that time MCD elections were going on in Delhi. So uh, it really prepared me living in this atmosphere and preparing for CAT to ignore all the noises that are outside. And while I was giving mocks, I also had some disturbances from my friends, from my hostel mates. So it really helped me in keeping sane at that time, because there are some people, even a little bit of noise may hinder their preparations or their concentration. So on the D day, that is one advice, that on the D day, be prepared for everything, because anything can happen matlab, on D-Day. So be flexible and adaptive to different situations.
Yeah, yeah. So I've always, you look at any of my lectures, most of the bullseye faculty, hit bullseye faculty, everyone's talking about not everything would go right. It's how do you prepare for the worst circumstances? How do you prepare? How do you come out of it? That is what makes a lot of difference. So Srujan, you were talking about that you started preparing in June. So how did you start? How did you, when
Yeah.
you were talking to a lot of your peer group, seniors, how did you start preparing? What was the first thing that you started off with?
Okay. So since I was starting with VRC, so one of the best advice that I got from my seniors was that I should start reading newspapers. So that's what I did, because there are two benefits of those. Because once I start reading newspaper, first thing I will develop is my comprehension skills, because a lot of renowned editors have posted their own editorials on them, like in Hindu or the Mint. You can read them. So the kind of comprehension skills that you develop after reading them day by day is phenomenal, because CAT RCs are also on the similar lines, on abstract topics, on philosophical topics, or on politics. So these are some of the topics that comes into the hard RCs part. So if you are prepared for them, if you start reading newspaper, first thing is you develop your comprehension skills, and the second thing is you develop your current affairs and GK knowledge. Because in the later part, in the next stage of the CAT, that is after scoring a good percentile and getting calls from top colleges, what you need is current affairs, and that really helped me in the current affairs part too. So newspapers is something that will help you in developing your VRC skills. And apart from that, if you are a bibliophile and you read a lot of books, that really helps, because you are already halfway in your VRC preparation, and all you need to do is develop your vocabulary. So for that, there are different books like Word Power Made Easy, and uh, root words. I think you should focus on root words, because each and every word has a root. And if you are able to understand what root is there and what suffix and prefix is added to that root, so uh, getting the meaning of the word becomes really easier for me, so for you. So that's what I focused on. I started learning a lot of root words, and right from my childhood I was really good at English. So VRC was not difficult for me. But one thing is that I would like to suggest is that focus on all the sections equally, because uh, after 1 or 2 months of preparation, I got a little overconfident in VRC, and that's when my VRC score began to drop in mocks. So that's what I'll suggest, is focus on all the sections equally, because uh, acing one section will not help you score 99 percentile. And after that, I was really bad at DILR, because at starting I was not really able to understand the sets, and those 40 minutes of DILR, I was just sitting idle and not able to solve even one question. So what I did was, I was suggested by my seniors that you should prepare, you should practice at least 2 DILR sets each and every day. So once you start doing this, after 10 or 15 days, what will happen is that you will develop that kind of thinking, that kind of critical thinking that is required to solve a DILR set, because it will help you in looking at the question from a different perspective. And after some time of practice, that is 1 month of practice, you will start seeing those minute things in a DILR set, and those hints which are really helpful in solving a DILR set from top to bottom. So what I did was, I was consistent with my practice. I started solving 2 DILR sets every day, be it from linear arrangement, circular arrangement. What I did was, I completed that topic on my own, and then I started solving those questions and sets. So it really helped me boost my confidence in that section. And finally, on the D day, I scored 99.97 percentile in DILR section, which is, I think, really great for a first timer. So in DILR, what you need to do is, you need to select your set first, because you cannot start from the first set in DILR, because each and every set has a different level of difficulty. And what I'll suggest, and what I did in my exam, was start from the easier one and then move on to the hard one. Because if you are stuck on a hard set, then you are wasting your time on that set, and you are not able to solve the easier one. So selection becomes really important, and for that, to develop that selection and time management, I used to write a lot of sectional tests, that are only dedicated to DILR section. So that really helped me in developing that kind of acumen in selecting those sets and managing my time. And I was advised by many mentors that 2 sets will fetch you 99 percentile. But what I'll suggest is that, if the paper is easier, then maybe 3 sets will fetch you 99 percentile. So do not be content, and do not be satisfied by whatever you are doing. At least be hungry, and try to solve each and every question, because on the D day I solved 15 questions, that is 3 sets, and my set was easier, my section was easier. So in that, 3 sets fetched me 99 percentile. So do not have a benchmark in your mind right from the starting, that I'll solve 8 questions and then I'll stop. Always try to solve as much as you can in DILR. And coming to the quant part, I was really not good at quants, because what we generally have in 12th is the bookish knowledge of quants, and we have the habit of solving them right from the starting and going to the end of fourth page and solving that sum and writing hence proved, and making a box on top of that. So I
Yes.
also had the same habit of doing maths in long format, but what is required in CAT is to solve those sums in 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. And another thing that is required is to select the questions. As I said, in DILR, it is also applicable in quant as well. So there are 22 questions, and generally from past papers, it was analyzed that 11 questions right will fetch you 99 percentile. So what is important is that selecting the questions and selecting those questions in which you are comfortable. So since there are 3 types of part in maths, like algebra, arithmetic, and modern mathematics. So I focused on arithmetic and algebra more, because those 2 sections had more weightage in CAT quant section. So I was very good with arithmetic, and what I did was practice arithmetic and algebra more, because I wanted to be so confident that any question from these 2 sections, I'll be able to solve them. So this really helped me in question selection, because I used to avoid questions from modern mathematics. So each and every one of you will have your strengths and weaknesses, because my weakness was geometry. So in mocks and in real CAT paper, whenever I saw a geometry question, I used to avoid it and don't even waste my second on that. So this really helped me in saving my time as well, and focusing that time on easier topics like simple interest and AMA, average mixture allocations. So this was my strategy, and you can also form your own strategy for quants based on your strengths and weaknesses. So what I did was I went in rounds in CAT, because uh, on I went in 3 rounds. That is, in the first round, what I used to do, I used to solve the most easiest questions, because these are the questions that you do not want to miss in any CAT exam, because if you miss them, you will really feel guilty. These are the questions that 99% of the people generally solve them. So after doing these in the first 10 or 15 minutes, I'll just make another round and read all the questions, and then I'll solve those questions that I think I may be able to solve, or I think I've looked somewhere while practicing in my past mocks or something. So these questions will take 10 or 15 minutes, and in the last 10 minutes, I'll go once again throughout the paper in maths, and I'll solve other questions which I think I can solve and try to maximize my score. So this strategy really helped me, and I attempted around 16 questions, of which I got 11 questions correct in maths. So in quant section, so that was my strategy in quants. So my suggestion will be is to make 2 notebooks right from the starting. One will be for formula book and another will be a practice book, because the formula book will really help you in the later part of your preparation, that is in September, October, November. Because what I used to do in those months was revise the formula book every day, every night, 2 hours from 10 to 12. So gradually 2 or 3 months you are reading the same thing, so the picture of the formula book really came in my mind, and each and every formula was on my tips. So I did not have to derive any formula at the moment when I was solving the question, or I did not have to waste my time in remembering the formulas at while giving the paper. So having a formula book really helps you, so you can make formula book from different sources that are available online as well. And the practice book is to do your practice and solve a typical type of questions that are really asked in CATs from in past papers as well. So make those 2 books, and it will really make your life easier. And that's it. And also I had some points in my mind that in VRC I will start with RC first and then go to VA. It really depends on you. You can start from VA as well and move on to RC, and be at least be comfortable in whatever your strategy, and experiment with your strategy, because I used to experiment my strategies in my mocks. So if one strategy fails, at least be ready with 3 or 4 strategies: plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, because you can never be ready for CAT exam, because CAT is really unpredictable. So if you are predicting that the 4 RCs will be easy and I'll be starting with the RCs first and I'll maximize my score, that really does not happen. So you should be ready with 2 or 3 plans. In case the RCs are harder, I'll do this. In case the VA part is harder, I'll do this. So make your own strategies as per your strengths and weaknesses, and do not try to copy other strategy. Like I have just given my example of an example of my strategy, but please don't copy this, because it won't really work for you.
Very nice, very nice. So it's like, yes, I'll summarize it rather later, but so what do you think is the importance of mock cats, Srujan? How many mock cats do you do? Do you think one should start with taking mock cats early? That's what we suggest, but do you think it's ideal that we should wait after completion of the syllabus, or we should take mock cats side by side as we go along?
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah. Speaking from my own experience, I'll definitely suggest that you should start your mocks as early as possible, because that's what the mistake I did. Because I was really afraid of mocks at the starting, because I was not able to score well. I only scored around 20 or something, and that too from VRC, because VRC is general and you can give a mock without any preparation as well. So I stopped giving mocks, because I thought that I'll save my mocks for later part when I complete my course, and at that time mocks will really help me. But that does not go well with anyone. So what I'll suggest is start giving mocks as and when you can, like weekly mocks from June maybe, because uh, from each and every mock, you do not just have to give the mock, you have to analyze it as well, and those analysis also will help you in correcting your mistakes. And the analysis part is also will also take a major chunk of your time, because you do not simply give 2 hours mocks and then analyze it in 15 minutes. You have to sit and analyze each and every question. You have to see where did I go wrong, because each and every what you should do is you should have a learning from each and every mock. If you are not good at something in one mock, then at least try to learn or do that practice that topic between the time between you give another mock, or try to avoid that topic in the next mock, because that will really help you in maximizing your score, and as well as knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Because once you are giving a mock, you are in an environment where you have to sit on the laptop for 2 hours and you cannot run from it. So what I'll suggest is at least sit on the table and chair and practice, and get into habit of sitting in on table and chair. Do not just lie on the sofa and give mock just for the sake of it. So each and every mock will give you a learning. Like for an example, uh, in my case, what I used to do, uh, let's say in quant, I gave a mock of quant section, and then I found out that I was not able to even read all the questions. So what I'll do, I'll just go and analyze what questions I attempted, in which question I was stuck, and was that topic my strength or weakness. If it was numbers, so have I prepared numbers? Am I good at it? And if I'm not good at it, then why did I attempt it? So after analyzing this, I'll come to two solutions. One will be to prepare numbers before giving next mock, or the next one will be to avoid numbers question in the next mock. So that will help me in reading all the questions and saving my time, or I'll be able to maximize my score by getting my numbers section question right. So that is a kind of learning and analysis you do from each and every mock. And do not save your mocks for the later part. If your mocks have if you have used your mocks, buy another mock in the later part. Because what I used to do in October was I purchased another test series, and in from 25th October to 25th November, I used to sit at the time at which I was allotted my cat slot, that is second slot. I used to sit at that time from 12 to 2, and I used to write mocks every day. So what it helped me in was to uh, get in that state of mind, that is to write my mocks in 12 to 2 and write an exam in 12 to 2, because usually that is the time when we have lunch and we usually go to take afternoon nap. But that really helped me in getting habituated to that time slot. And my mind started to work in that manner in that time slot. So what I'll suggest is write your mocks in time slot that you get, and that will really help you
Yeah,
in
the
boosting your
frequency
score.
to yeah, and the frequency of the paper, taking the paper, writing the paper needs to increase as as the moment you get closer to the actual cat paper. So doing a mock every day was something what was superhuman, but the frequency definitely needs to increase as you are approaching the paper. But start with it. We also discussed it in the last BBKP session. Srujan, we had another candidate who had cleared IIM Ahmedabad, and it was all about the same thing, just putting it in different words and repeating it. But that's very important. That's why repeating it, that the starting point needs to be defined. Everyone needs to know what is their starting point in each section. And in quant, or for that matter, you can further bifurcate and say that for a particular topic, this is my starting point, and I need to have that conviction of covering that complete thing. Mock cats will only make you understand and give you a complete pitch. Sorry, so I just started reading the question. Giving a complete picture ki main agar, if I think I'm good in numbers, but actually if I'm not good in numbers, my mock cats will throw that. So we'll tell that. So you need to go back, analyze it properly, and that is how mock cats will help you. As simple as that. Okay, just taking mock cats towards the end will not solve a purpose. We reiterated umpteen number of times, mock cats are a part of your preparation. Am I right, Srujan?
Yes, definitely.
So Srujan, what would you suggest? I did not ask you that question at that time, but geometry was your weaker section, weaker part of quant. So how did you prepare for it? I really want to understand. It's not about geometry that we are trying to answer, but we are trying to answer how would one person, if one person knows that he's
Yes,
not
sir.
good in a particular topic, how should he go about preparing it? You can take geometry as example and tell us how did you go about it, or did you leave geometry altogether? That's whatever
Okay.
you did. Just help us out with that.
Okay. So actually, I was really late in starting my time to go through. What I did was focus on my strengths, that is algebra and arithmetic, because those two topics have most number of questions in quant. And after doing that, what I did was I maintained the geometry formula book. So at least before CAT, what I did, I went through each and every formula, I learned them, and I was ready to use those formulas. I was really able to use those formulas whenever I had time in my real paper. So what I did in real paper was real CAT was I started doing paper, and I did all the arithmetic and algebra questions as much as I can. And then when I
I think
then
Srujan
when
has.
I had time, I went through the geometry questions as well. And it involved Pythagoras and what, sir?
I think Srujan has a weak internet connection, so we are losing his voice.
Yes, sir.
No
Is it
issues,
good
no
now?
issues. Just
Yeah.
readjust, Srujan. That's okay. It happens. Ultimately, it just goes to show we've all become so technology dependent. Yes. Please go ahead. You'll
Okay.
have to repeat
So
it. Yeah.
yes. Okay. So as I mentioned, that geometry was my weaker section. But what I did was utilize my time in preparing my strengths. So what I did was ace the algebra and arithmetic topic. And after doing that, I had some time left. So what I did, I maintained a formula book for geometry, and I learned all the formulas from geometry. That is Pythagoras, Apollonius theorem, trigonometry, and all those. And I was really, ready to apply those formulas if and when I get time in my CAT exam. So in real CAT exam, I had time. So I went through two or three geometry questions that were there, and out of those, two were very easy. Those just uh, required Pythagoras or the section formula of the circle. So I was really able to solve them, and that really helped me boost my score. So what I'll suggest is first try to cover all your strengths and those easier topics that have the most weightage in CAT exam. And after doing that, you should definitely prepare for whatever has been left, because what I think is that no one will be able to solve all those 22 questions in 40 minutes of quant. So at least you should be able to solve what you know and what are your strengths. So if geometry is not your strength, just like me, then focus on your strength, and then in the later part, if you have time, you will definitely have time, prepare that, practice that, and then improve that section and that topic as well. Because not going prepared will definitely not help you, and you should be prepared for each and everything. In some, maybe next year in CAT, geometry comes with 10 questions, nobody knows. So what I'll suggest is be prepared with each and every topic thoroughly, and at least do your topics uh, do the topics in which you are comfortable thoroughly.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. So that gives a little insight into how do you approach your weaker section, and it's not about that you cannot improve it. A few months are enough for you to work on it and improve it. So what was your low point? Uh, can you how did you come out of it? That is what we want to understand.
Okay, so right after my second year exams in May and June, I was really in the enjoying mode in June. So after some preparation of CAT, I used to give mocks and I used to score very less. So there was one moment when my elder sister, who is also an MBA, she looked at my mocks, and then she started scolding me कि
Okay.
what you are doing,
हाँ,
like ऐसे तो नहीं चलेगा, and 2-3 महीने बचे हैं बस कैट में, you are aiming for IIM, you have good acumen, you have good record, past record, why waste another year. मतलब she really, gave me a big lecture of 1 hour and more. So that was the point when I realized कि yes, she is right. And that was the time when I was also distracted by my college placements as well. I was not really clear कि I was thinking कि चलो अभी कैट इतनी अच्छी नहीं जा रही, चलो प्लेसमेंट लेके 1 साल बात करेंगे. बट at that time I hit rock bottom and I pulled myself back कि no, at least even if I am looking for placement, I will give this attempt my best. So I started preparing well. uh, I know I know that time. I remember कि I was sitting in my coaching for 10 hours. I used to ask my point of contact कि give me schedule of all the classes that are going on today, and I'll sit in them accordingly. So that was a point where in September I pulled myself back. I covered all my course because a lot of my course, at least 60% of my course was left in quants. So I used to sit in all the classes and uh, you know do a marathon of classes without lunch, without dinner, and go to coaching at 10 a.m., come back at 10 p.m. So that was the kind of thing I did, and it really helped me in being perseverance in my perseverance and being consistent, because I got into habit of sitting for 10 hours, and that really made sitting for 2 hours easy for me, because those 2 hours didn't feel like anything for me. So uh, I started from the basics again. As I said that my VRC score went down in June July because I was overconfident, so I started reading passages, Aon essays, and newspapers seriously. And I also started looking at the VA part more, because earlier I was not focusing on VA more, because I thought that VA तो तुक्का है, 3214 जो भी है, मतलब ऑर्डर किसी का भी ऐसे राइट नहीं हो सकता. लेकिन देन आई स्टार्टेड लुकिंग एट द बेसिक्स की यस देयर आर प्रोनाउंस, की अगर पहले किसी का नाम लिखा होगा तभी बाद में उसके बारे में ही लिखा होगा. ही कैन नॉट, ही से स्टार्ट होने वाला सेंटेंस कैन नॉट कम फर्स्ट. सो दोस काइंड ऑफ बेसिक्स रियली हेल्प यू इन maximizing your score in VA as well. And DILR was my weaker section, so uh, I was not confident about it till the CAT exam, but I was confident about myself. Ki I have that acumen of looking at questions from a different perspective, even though I have not solved Arun Sharma book or 600 sets during my CAT preparation, but I was really confident ki I'll be able to solve at least 2 sets. So what I'll suggest you is that do not get into depression, do not get depressed by others' progress, because you will see others getting ahead of you in your coaching, in whatever mocks you are giving. Your percentile will not come, but at least be consistent and be honest with yourself. Ki I'll practice regularly, and whatever happens, I'll give my best. So that's what I did.
Srujan, I really liked when we were interacting before the session was about to start about your, and I'll like to repeat, I'll request you to repeat, give a little background about yourself, though I should have asked you earlier, but I'll ask you just now, because a lot of times what happens is we get bothered. So a lot of things are coming wherein, the people who are asking questions have decided कि IIM Ahmedabad तो होगा ही नहीं. Hang on, guys, होता है, right?
Yes.
It's like, that's your mental block. Please get it right immediately. Okay, I know there are very few people, there are very few seats in Ahmedabad, but वो होता humans का ही है, वो इंसानों का ही होता है, किसी और का नहीं होता. So this is very something which I really want to tell the students की जो देख रहे हैं इस session को, कि ऐसा नहीं होता है, ठीक है? And saying that, I cannot be a part of it. Instead, let's find a way in which you can be a part of this success journey. So Srujan, what I really like, we missed that initially. Give a little introduction tell us a little about yourself. I really liked what you talked about, and I would say that Srujan very clearly told me, it was my first interaction. The other Hitbullseye faculty have had interaction with him. It was my first interaction with me. He came up with such a calm mind and said, sir, I know I can manage a lot of stuff in limited time. And that is where I know he's a winner, because he was thinking the positive part of it. 99% of the people sitting, and that is why he had a higher percentile, 99% of the people sitting would think I have to do too much and hence I cannot do it. This fellow came in, and I feel so proud of him by saying him. He said, I can do multiple stuff in limited time. That is my strength. Tell us a little about yourself, Srujan, please.
Okay, so getting
tell us
into
that you're doing CA as well. Yeah, please.
yeah.
Over to you. I'll not
So getting into my background, I am from Gujarat and I did my schooling from Surat. I had a commerce with maths background in 12th standard, and after that I am pursuing Bachelor of Commerce honors from Kirori College, Delhi University, and I was really interested in commerce right from the beginning. So hence I decided to pursue it. After my 12th standard, there was direct lockdown. I was just completing my 12th and lockdown came. So at that time, I decided to pursue chartered accountancy as well. So I have also cleared chartered accountancy intermediate both groups examination in my first attempt as well, during my before my second year. So after that, I started preparing for CAT. And during my school years, I have also played cricket and Kho-Kho at state levels, and I was the captain of both the teams there. And during my college years also, I have done a few internships. One was with a digital marketing company in the digital marketing role, and another one with a strategy company, an app that was doing its pilot in India. So I have had my fair bit of experience in the real world corporate sector as well. And I was part of different societies as well in my college. So that really helped me in opening up to a lot of new people in networking and learning how to manage your work, stress, and all the other things, managing deadlines as well. So I was always a multitasker, and that's what I wrote in my SOP of Ahmedabad as well. Ki right from the beginning, I was a manager, and that really helped me in managing my cat stuff as well. Because living in hostel, living in Delhi University, different events, different kinds of competitions, different exams, and different kinds of fun you have, those kind of things become hindrance to your preparation as well. So you need to learn how to manage your time and how to manage your studies, because that will really help you in becoming a good manager. After all, in the end, you what you are aiming for is to become a good manager, and having these traits really help you right from the beginning.
Yes, definitely. There are some characteristics which a winner has. He looks on the positive side of it, knows he has free time. If there's a COVID lockdown which has happened, knows that he can add value to himself during that time. That is what a winner will do. So really proud of you there. Fantastic resume you would have. I've not had a look at your resume though, but I'm sure you have a fantastic resume, and that puts a very good foot forward to prove your point in front of the interview panel.
Also, adding on the thing that you talked about, the fresher thing. Freshers don't get into IIMA.
I really want you to answer that, because problem comes as the grass. It's not that I'm a fresher, I have work experience. It's always that the grass on the other side is greener. There's always a question if I can do it. Okay, if I don't have a work experience, will I be able to do it? If I have a work experience, I should have maybe done it before when I was studying. What's your take on it, please?
See, what I believed was I was studying right from my 10th standard seriously. So 10th, 12th, graduation, what I looked was I wanted to continue this momentum. I would not be able to, do my MBA right after 2 or 3 years of work, because that momentum would be broken. So I wanted to do MBA as early as I could. So that was my mentality. And coming to the fresher part, see, what I suggest uh, all the aspirants out there, ki it really does not hinder your chances of getting into top B schools, because that work-ex component has very little weightage in your total profile. And if I can get into IIM Ahmedabad, you definitely can, because I am from commerce background. I did not have those valuable internships in terms of working in Flipkart or working in Axis Bank, because my peers really did that. So what I'll say is I have looked my peers as well who have got into IIM Ahmedabad and they did not have any internships. So people who are suggesting you ki you should go for internships before CAT and you should improve your profile, I think what you should focus right now is only on scoring 99 percentile or whatever best you can give, because that is your best shot at getting into the top B schools. All the other things are secondary. So you need to prioritize your time. That's what I'll suggest. Ki if you have time, then you can pursue extra things. But if you feel that you are not, totally 100% prepared for CAT, then you should not waste your time in other activities like college clubs, internships, and all those, because those kind of things really come after you score a good percentile and get a call from B school. But for that, at least you should score a good percentile in CAT, and you need to get good percentile in CAT. So do whatever you can and whatever needs to be done for getting that good score in CAT. And for the fresher thing, I'll suggest ki Ahmedabad also accepts a lot of freshers, and for that they have a particular weightage of freshers. Like Ahmedabad takes 30-40% of freshers and Bangalore takes a little bit lesser. So don't look like you are competing with the workex people. Whom you are competing with are the other fresher people. Okay, so that's where you have to be optimistic, and you can definitely get into top B schools.
So it's not only one student saying that, it's the second student consecutively saying it. The same thing, the student who had a work experience said that, hang on, please, that's a different group that you're competing with. This is a different group which is competing amongst itself. They will have a mixed bag. They will want that balance in the class, in the class of IIM Ahmedabad or any IIM for that matter. If you're a fresher, please, you're competing with freshers. If you have work experience, you're competing with work experience people. So then, there's no end to it. What kind of a work experience should I have? What kind of an education should I have? Please focus on your peer group. You're not competing. A fresher is not competing with someone who has a work. The work is not competing with someone who's a fresher. You're competing in your own respective groups. So that is very, very important. I did not feel that this to him. He is saying exactly the same thing. Or we would have got a different perspective, right? But let's be clear that this is how it is. So how did you prepare for your interview? Srujan, we really want to understand that. Moving from the written examination now to the interview. And how did you prepare for other examinations? Did you prepare for other examinations, or you were only preparing for CAT when you were preparing for CAT?
Okay, so I had also enrolled for SNAP and ZAT, but I was really focused on CAT. I wanted to ace CAT as CAT only. But after analyzing the pattern of SNAP and ZAT, what I found out that the course is not very different. It is as similar as CAT. So you do not need to practice much. Only you need to do is you need to change your approach, because SNAP is 60 minutes, 60 questions, and ZAT is a little bit longer exam, 3 hour 25 minutes exam with an essay also. So what I did, I used to go through the past year papers and see the pattern, and then I used to analyze and prepare my own strategy. What I'll do is I'll start with VRC first. I'll attempt these questions, and after that I'll move on to quants, and then at last I'll do DILR. So because those exams also had the system key, you can move freely throughout the paper. So in those exams, what you should do is you should start with the most strongest section that you have, because that will help you maximizing your score. So that's what I did. I did not prepare much for SNAP and ZAT, and I scored 99 percentile in SNAP as well and 96 percentile in ZAT. So preparing for CAT really prepares you for all the other non-CAT exams. And coming to my interview part, after getting my result, that is 99.4 percentile, I was really happy. So I went into the chill mood for 1 month, and after that, around 15th of Jan or something, I started panicking, and I started calling the mentors just like I did before giving CAT. What should I do? What should I start? And all that. I enrolled with Hitbullseye for GDPI prep, and uh, all of them really suggested me at least be prepared with your undergrad academics, because you are a fresher. So they will definitely ask you on undergrad subjects. So I started preparing my undergrad subjects, and then the next big thing was key current affairs. As I was reading some newspapers, I was in touch with current affairs, but not really. So I started reading newspapers and making notes from them in the later part after January. So those notes really helped me in revising the current affairs and making my strong I had a background in finance, so I used to make a different page for finance news only, because in interviews they generally ask you ki any current affairs you want to talk about. So I usually went into the finance news because I had a good background and good knowledge of finance. So that's what I did. And after that, the first thing what you need to do is know yourself, because the most asked question will be why MBA, and most of us definitely don't have the answer for that while we are writing CAT. So after writing CAT, you really need to introspect key why you are going to pursue MBA. You need to make a narrative, a story to convince the interviewer key yes, you are right fit for MBA, and you should be someone who should be sitting in his class. So that's what I did. I prepared a narrative. I went through my whole life and noted down all my achievements and linked all of them to pursuing MBA at IIM Ahmedabad and my dream college. So that's what I did. And the next thing is to be confident while you are answering, and not have that panic while talking to someone, because interview is something you should take interview as a conversation, not as an examination. Because if whenever you take it as an examination, and you are not able to answer any question, you will panic, and that will really not help you. Because in an interview you need to be on your feet, and you need to think at the moment, and you should have that presence of mind to answer the questions with diplomacy. So that's what I did. I was really confident with my presence of mind thing, and I was good at that because I have been participating in many public speaking competitions. So I was really okay with that. So after giving 5 or 10 interviews, mock interviews with Hitbullseye and many other mentors and seniors, I was confident ki yes, I have covered everything. And you can never really prepare for an interview because they can ask you anything. But what you can do is you can prepare for each and every loophole that you have in your resume or in your background. So that's what I was confident about before giving an interview.
So how did you feel when what did they ask you in the Ahmedabad interview? If you can actually throw that light. So this was the preparation part. The next part is what did they actually ask you? What was did you feel that you cleared it when you came out? What else you could have done? What did you miss out? Or was it a complete foolproof preparation for the interview? What's your take on it?
Okay, so my first interviews started in February, and to be honest, my first 3 or 4 interviews were not really up to the mark, and I was not happy with them. And luckily, I had my Ahmedabad interview in the very last interview, that is on 19th March. So I had ample of time and ample of interviews to experiment and get the experience of real interviews. So in my Ahmedabad interview, what we had was we had analytical written tests before the interview. So that went really smooth. I was prepared with 13, 14 logical policies. There are recency bias, confirmation bias, and all that. It was very smooth. And after that, we had to wait, and then we have to enter the interview room. So as and when I entered the interview room, I was asked to sit, and I was asked, how are you? How did you reach? And all that. Did you talk with your past interviewees and all that? It was a casual conversation at the starting, but to my surprise, that interview really took a surprising turn, because they did not ask me any academics from my undergrad subjects. So and before that, each and every interview had a lot of academics component. So in my Ahmedabad interview, what the ma'am started was, "Ki you are a CA, right?" So I said, "No, ma'am, I am semi-qualified CA. I have only completed Chartered Accountancy Intermediate." And then she started asking, "Ki अच्छा तुम्हें तो पता ही होगा." And she started asking current affairs and finance question that I did not even heard at that time. So uh, what I said, ki if you can give, she asked me what are your views about pillar two rules. I was totally struck ki what are pillar two rules. So what I did, I answered diplomatically ki um, if you can explain what are pillar 2 rules, then maybe I can contribute on it. Then she said ki it is about the global tax regime and all that. And then I got to know ki I have read it in current affairs, and I answered ki global taxation new rules are coming out in G20 summit and all that. So after that, she went into correlation regression and some of the topics that are there in my undergrad subject. But the sir that was there in the interview, he started asking situation based and opinion based questions. Ki there is a village, new minerals have been discovered there, and a company has been given a chance to take out the minerals and uh, purify them and then sell it, so it will help in boosting the GDP of the economy. But on the other hand, it is doing a lot of pollution, and lives of villagers are being affected. So he asked me the number of parties that are affected, what are the effects of this whole thing, and how can I be the voice of the villagers in front of the CEO of the company, and how can I convince him कि he should stop this thing. And the second question was कि what are my views on this, and what should I tell to the government कि uh, that GDP is not the right measure to measure the development of the country. So what would be my suggestions to the government on the same? So this was the question. I thought about it, I answered, and then I was given a math equation to solve on the paper. And after that, ma'am asked me about my hobbies and talents. So I had a meme page as well, so I talked about that. Then she asked me ki what kind of memes to create and all that. And at the end, they asked me to take the toffee, that is the tradition to give. So I took one toffee and I left. So the experience was pretty good. I think that I could not have answered any better in terms of content. What could I have done better is I could have been more fluent at that time, because the questions were not something you can answer at the moment. So I had to think a lot about them. I was uh, stucking in between a lot, and these kind of things really happen in interviews. So it really did not matter, because at the end I converted IIM Ahmedabad. But what I'll suggest ki always be prepared for everything, because Ahmedabad interviews are really random. It went for 40 minutes, and they did not ask me more than 5 questions of undergrad. So most of the questions were situation based. And yes, sir really asked me about three political women from my state. Then he went on to India, and then he went on to world. So I don't know what his thinking was at that time. I answered these questions. So be prepared for everything with current affairs and academics as well.
What about other interviews?
Yeah, those interviews were also pretty much similar, because they were based on academics and then current affairs. But Ahmedabad interview was really random and different. Coming to other interviews like IIM Calcutta, Lucknow, and all those. In Lucknow, I had an extempore. So in my introduction, I mentioned ki I like to watch sci-fi movies. So that extempore was on sci-fi movies, their future in India, how did they origin, and what are your views about that. So I was pretty comfortable with that topic, because I had watched a lot of sci-fi movies and I was a sci-fi movies fanatic. So they asked me to talk on it for 1 minute, and I talked on it for 2 minutes, and they had to stop me. Okay, you have talked enough. So but it was really great. And in my indoor interview also, there was extempore, and it was on the similar lines of Adani Hindenburg saga. Because so these kind of things really showcase ki in an interview, what you do is you need to give them hooks about the things that they should ask you. I mentioned Adani Hindenburg in my answer, in some answer in Indore, and they asked me an extempore on that. And I mentioned sci-fi movies in my introduction in Lucknow, and they asked me to give an extempore on that. So most of the questions are definitely based on your resume and whatever you tell them. So that is one learning that you all can have.
Great. So, we are running out of time. Srujan, what is your suggestion to the aspirants now? What should they do? How should they study? Something you missed, basically, which you would like to highlight, apart from we've talked a lot about how your preparation went, but something you've missed, You can highlight that as well, please.
Yeah. So basically, what I'll tell you all, key, do not try to do different books and different coaching material, different mocks at the same time. At least take one course, take one book, and try to do it thoroughly from starting to end. And do not get means take views from everyone, but take them with a pinch of salt. Do not just try to do whatever each and every one of them is doing at the same time. So focus on all the sections equally, because you need to clear the minimum basic percentile of 75% to get calls from all the major IIMs, because even after scoring 99 percentile and having lesser than 70-80 percentile in one section will not get you a call. So focus on all the sections equally. And my third advice would be key, give mocks regularly, and do not be afraid of giving mocks. Even if you're not scoring well in mocks, you will eventually score well, and you will get to know the pattern of the paper and the kind of questions that are asked in CAT. So from the next time you will be prepared ki I need to avoid this question or do this question. So giving mocks will definitely help you in getting the understanding of the paper pattern and all that. And the fourth one will be key, always stay hungry and do not compare yourself with others, because uh, each and every one of you are very subjective and different, and have different capabilities. So do not compare ki other person is studying 8 hours a day, so I should also study. There are people who can do 8 hours of work in 2 hours, 3 hours. So hours of study is not the right metric to gauge your performance or preparation plan. Also stay hungry, like do not have a benchmark in your mind ki I'll score 99 percentile and I'll get into ABC only. Be realistic. I was also realistic. I was aiming for top 15 colleges in India, and I was really happy with getting into any of them, but I was hungry ki yes, I'll give my best and I'll try to convert A, but I'll be realistic and I'll be happy to get into any of the top 15 colleges. So that's what I did, and that's what I'll suggest you, because having very high hopes will also shatter your expectations and make you depressed, and having very low hopes will also, not help you in realizing your own potential. So that's what I'll say at the last.
What a wonderful discussion I've had with, or rather, we've all had with what a stable mind person, a mature head on shoulders already at this age. And that is, I think, what makes a lot of difference. Stability, calmness, maturity, ability to handle multiple things together. We wish you all the best, Srujan. From the complete Hitbullseye family, we wish you all the very best for your future. We will stay connected and let's learn from each other on how to, excel in life. Thank you. That is it for the session for today. Thank
Definitely,
you
sir.
for being
And
a part of it.
all the best to all the aspirants from my side.
Thank you so much, Srujan. Feelings are mutual. Okay, take care. All the best. Stay connected. Bye.